What's up guys, welcome back to the BMW Guy channel, and today we're talking about MPGs on the BMW 120D M Sport. So this is sort of a how-to or a sort of brief introduction on how to sort of improve your MPGs on, well, in any car really, I suppose. I've just sort of made it BMW themed because this is a BMW channel. So yeah, as you may have known, I've been on a nice big road trip over the last couple of weeks, and one of the main things I wanted to achieve in that road trip was a 600 miles on one tank of fuel. Now this car is meant to be able to do that. However, from looking on a lot of the forums and hearing what you guys have to say, it's very unlikely that you're actually able to do that in everyday driving. So I wanted to take the opportunity, as we did a nice big 900-mile road trip, to sort of test out that theory and see whether it is possible. So it's got a just over 10-gallon fuel tank, which means I've needed to average 60 MPGs throughout the trip. Well, for the stint that I was doing on that tank. So yeah, these are just a few tips that I've found on how to achieve that number and make your fuel go further, and also it saves you money, doesn't it, at the end of the day, which we can't complain about. So yeah, I'll take a seat in the car and I'll show you through my current MPG, which is sort of what you want to expect from quite, not aggressive driving, but spirited driving in and around town as well. As you can see, we're low on fuel. I need to shut the door before we see that. So there we go, happy. And as you can see, we've still got the ABS fault and everything like that on, which is a bit of a ball ache, but oh well, it's more to life. Right. Just swiping through here, as you can see, average MPG 44.1 MPG, which isn't amazing given this car is said to be able to do a steady 50, but this is sort of your realistic road driving, overtakes, that sort of stuff, and around town, everyday MPG reading. So yeah, that's what you can expect really. Yeah, on the trip I discovered a few methods to sort of ease or increase MPGs, and the first of which was to sort of just change up sooner. So instead of changing up at 2,500 RPM, I'm changing up at 2,000 RPM, or by 2,000 RPM, keeping it in the maximum torque curve of the, which for this vehicle is 1750 RPM, 1,750 RPM is the vehicle's when it does the highest amount of torque in the rev range, and then the BHP is towards 4,000, 4,000 RPM, which is, so you got your nice peak of torque quite early on, then you've got the peak in horsepower later on. So you want to ride that torque and sort of change up each time, so you're right in that band of torque at about 1750 RPM to get the most out of your fuel, so you don't have to accelerate as much, because obviously each time you put the accelerator down, it's injecting fuel and using that up. Another thing is coasting. So when you're coming up to a junction, rather than braking immediately, you let off the accelerator much sooner to bleed off speed. And it's sort of, in advanced driving, it's known as acceleration sense. So it's anticipating the traffic ahead, not accelerating when you don't need to. So it would be coming off the brakes, coming off the accelerator, sorry, early, easing onto the brakes gently as you come into a roundabout, trying not to stop, because that is when you're going to use the most fuel and you're trying to break that moment of inertia, which is where it's overcoming the biggest change in momentum. The most force required is when you're going from a standstill to moving. So you just, yeah, you want to ease off the brakes, even ease off the accelerator even. Probably shouldn't be getting those two confused. Yeah, easing off the accelerator, coasting into a hazard or a junction or anything like that. And as you'll notice on your live readout of your MPGs, that will take it to 99 miles per gallon, which means you're essentially using no fuel whatsoever, which is ideal. Moving on, we've got to make sure that the engine oil and stuff is all up to date and nicely changed, because actually that will increase the internal resistance of the engine, which obviously increases fuel consumption, which again is another thing to bear in mind, because at the end of the day we want to be using at least the least amount of fuel possible, and if the engine itself is having trouble turning over because of the fact that it's not well lubricated, it's not going to be helped at all. So that's another one. Another one is tyre pressures. These can be found on your car just inside the door, and you want to be checking these quite regularly. The tyres as well themselves actually have different efficiency ratings which can impact fuel. The ones I've got on are fairly decent. As you can see here, these are your tyre pressures, and they're all a bit odd and confusing, but yeah, I'll do a video explaining those fully. But as you can see, I've got a more eco-friendly tyre up the front here, which is less rolling resistance, which sometimes can mean it's less grippy, but that's not too bad on this car. I'm quite relaxed on my brakes. I don't put too much force through the front wheels. So yeah, that's one of the perks of having a slightly more efficient tyre, is that it does make savings on fuel, and also actually having bigger rims as well isn't very good for fuel economy. So if you can, or if you're willing to do that, maybe going down a size on your alloys may improve fuel economy. And also getting rid of run flats. I know I've said this before, but neither of my tyres on my car are run flats. I think they're crap, because you have to change the tyre anyway, so it's easier sometimes and cheaper just to take out you sometimes saving 50 to 60 quid per tyre, so that's £200 on the whole car. And don't tell me you can't get breakdown recovery to a tyre shop for less than 200 quid. So yeah, these are the Michelins. These are slightly less efficient tyres because they're more of a sticky compound, because it's obviously a rear wheel drive car. I went with the grippier tyre. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. There's just a quick few tips on how to make sure that you can increase MPGs. But yeah, without further ado, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on the video. Let me know if you've got any tips on how you boost your MPGs. Let me know if there's anything I've missed. I probably have. Oh, perhaps one of the biggest ones is driving without the aircon on. Having the aircon on, you'll literally see sometimes that your range will just drop constantly, and that's because you've got your aircon on at the end of the day. So yeah, those are just quick tips. Let me know if you guys have got any more. I might do one on the hybrid Golf as well, because obviously that's a whole different kettle of fish with the hybrid system, and obviously it's more down to driving style and being able to utilise that hybrid system in the most efficient way possible. So I'll go over that in a later video. But yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.